Well, this is TMJC. Your principal already called me out.
Maybe it's better if I don't say anything this time.
But bro, this was way too easy.
Not I say one, my students say one.
Find out why in today's episode of P.R.
Welcome back to another video. This is Yao from Vantage Tutor, a class above the rest. And for today's Prelim Paper review, it is a JC2 WA1 special, and it is from 2026 Tampines Meridian Junior College, H2 Math, JC2 WA1. Now before I begin, these are the questions that I feel are insightful and probably worth your time to try. And if you would like to try this paper, you're invited to join my Telegram channel where I've uploaded a short summary along with a download link on my blog. Have a go at it, let me know how you did. And yes, I have started a tuition center. It's located near Boon King and SAJC. Regular classes are up and running and the full schedule can be found on my website. So what are you waiting for? Link is in the bio. Sign up today and I'll see you there. So this is another TMJC paper that was tested shortly after Chinese New Year. And just upon first impression, I could tell they shared the same consensus in terms of how they set this paper. Reasonable to cater to students who may have been busy due to OGL or the nature of how short-term one is. And this is not my words, these are my students' words. He himself found that this was way too easy. Why? Let's find out via my three matrices. Number 1, relevance. Number 2, insightfulness. Number 3, difficulty. Before I give an overall score, I recommend to you the type of student who should have this paper. And of course, if I have a student who had to sit for this paper under exam condition, what would be a fair expectation of him from me in order for him to score an A in his actual A levels? Firstly, relevance. Let's talk about the good of this paper. Question 1, your GP. If you have seen my YouTube video where I done the H2 Math challenge, one of the questions that I picked out to do as a duo with the AI, it was picked out mainly because of the second part, proving that it's a geometric progression. And this paper has that as well. So you can see the school is trying to take some elements from what they've seen in last year's A level. And that's as far as it gets for the relevance of this paper. Because if you look at question 2, if you're looking to do sequence and series contextual question, usually it's in terms of bank statements. Even if it's not in terms of bank statement, it will at least be tested in terms of your geometric progression and the application of it, where the table is more than paramount to solving the question. However, this question was purely on AP only, which I think if you're very talented, you don't even need a table, you probably can just apply the formula or just look at it from afar, you probably can solve it. And as for the differential equation part, maybe that will be relevant for a lot of you because they do fulfill all the criteria that I usually see in the differential equation. Showing the differential equation, solving for it, finding a particular solution, then extrapolating to a new scenario. But as much as this could be relevant, it's not as relevant compared to what you have seen in prelim papers. Yes, if this was compared to A level last year, this is more than relevant because last year's one was rather short. Again, if you watch my YouTube video, you would know. But this feels very rudimentary. And the fact that they placed it last, that means they wanted it to be an anchor question. I don't feel that spice and that flavor in the question. And hence, the relevance of this paper is there if you compare it to last year's A level paper, but there are just some parts of it that I cannot overlook. And therefore, the relevance of this paper will be given a rather average 6 out of 10. Next, insightfulness. In every exam paper that I review, especially prelim papers, I look for an anchor question. And so far in every WA that I have seen in my years of experience reviewing it, even in a short condensed paper, they try to include one anchor question. This paper, the anchor question has to be the differential equation. But again, it felt lackluster. And some of you may argue, differential equation, just how much can you make it creative? If you look at one of the A level paper, I think it was 2022 or 2023, the question about weight loss, that was a very creative differential equation, mainly because of the last part. And that is to say, whenever you do differential equation, the twist that they can give you is in terms of what if we change the model. And even if we don't do that, we can do what we've seen in the NYJC paper as well, which is that the first part is purely a differential equation in terms of context, then the second part they apply the substitution method. Or even better, now that your syllabus has changed, your differential equation could be really understanding variable separable, which means in your DE, you have 2 clear variables. In this context, there's only P, but then in your new syllabus, it could be both P and T in the same equation. How would you deal with that? And therefore, like I said, this paper wasn't really trying to stretch you. It was just trying to see whether you could deal with a typical question, but putting that as an anchor question feels lackluster, feels disappointing. And hence, the insightfulness of this paper will be given 3 out of 10. Next, difficulty. And these are not my words. I think I should keep difficulty to myself because I've been called out by a principal saying that I have explicitly stated that your exam papers are easy. And therefore this part, I'm just going to tell you what my students told me. They felt that this paper was not just easy, but it was too easy. And I could see why. Again, the APGP question 2, it was on AP. Successive days, adding by a fixed amount, not percentage, not by a certain fraction, not by a certain factor. And therefore this question by itself will be easier already. Question 1, proving that it's a geometric progression. I get it, some of you may have forgotten. In fact, when I was a student, this was one of the few things that I always forget in terms of why is it important to prove in terms of any random term that is a n+1 over any random term that is a nth term, where n is a positive real integer. And maybe some of you will also say question 3 is the anchor question, there's so much to do. But again, let me remind you, this is a very classic differential equation. If anything, this will appear in your tutorial multiple times already to get you into the rhythm before we move on to the proper differential equation where there are two variables in one equation. And hence, I can see why my students would think that this is easy, because the parts that was supposed to be difficult, like APGP, was made easier. And the anchor question, the differential equation, if you have done your tutorial, this would have been an easy full credit. And hence, if you ask me, the difficulty of this paper is more than fair. You'll be given 2 out of 10. Overall, truth be told, I don't see too much value in doing this paper. The only thing I'll probably keep is the differential equation, which I can use as a tutorial question. But apart from that, your APGP just feels lackluster. It feels like a reminder of what most of you would have learned in J1. I know the TM students learned this in J2, but if you're not getting to the crux of the APGP, where we are more concerned with whether students can do bank account questions or percentage-based questions or factor-based questions, this will come across as redundant for a lot of students. And therefore, as much as I understand the consensus and the thought process behind why this paper was set to a lower difficulty, I cannot be dishonest with you and tell you that this is one of the most useful paper out there. I cannot be dishonest with you and cause you to waste your time and try this paper thinking that doing well for this paper would easily secure you an A in your very own WA. And hence, the overall score of this paper will be given a very disappointing 2 out of 10. And if I had a student who had to sit for this paper under exam condition, a fair expectation of him would be 90% in order for him to score an A in his actual A levels. Finally, who I recommend this paper to? No doubt, to the weaker students. And even for the weaker students, I don't think you'll find too much value, but question 1 and question 3 is going to act as your step up to the intermediate question. Question 1 gives you the basic foundation of what a GP means. Question 3 is a wholesome question where it's a very classic differential equation in which a typical differential equation would look like. And I've broken them down for you just now. Part A, B, C, D, what they are supposed to be like. And that's also including the graph itself. How to draw the graph, do you even need a GC to begin with? And therefore, if you are a weaker student who have not done anything for your APGP or differential equation, you want to try something under time practice that is not too intense, that would eventually lead you to the revision package provided by your school so that you can gain confidence before moving forward, this paper will be perfect for you. Alright, so we have come to the end of this Prelim Paper review of 2026 Tampines Meridian Junior College H2 Math JC2 WA1. Now if you like what I'm doing, follow me on TikTok, like my video, comment and share with your friends. And if you like a more in-depth analysis, you like to watch more creative and useful content to help you in your A-level journey, subscribe to me on YouTube because ultimately, I'm on my way to 10,000 followers. Nothing else. This is Yao from Vantage Tutor, a class above the rest. Take care.